So for our next project, we're going to be doing actually using the same activity guide, and that will be the 234 automation through programming. We're just going to be looking at different parts of that activity. So the first thing you can do is click on that link to get to this place, and you can go to your resources to see all the resources you and your team need for this project. The first one is the Word document, which we should have downloaded from last time. It's the one that looks like this, the 234 automation through programming. And what you and your team are going to do is you're going to be assigned one of these tasks, and your group is going to complete that and show it off to the rest of the class. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we need to complete a lab sheet for this project as well. So you and your group just need to print off or grab one of these sheets. Mr. Cowsbeak may have some available, so you don't have to print it out. Otherwise, you have access to this and you can print it off yourself. Remember, your electrical engineer needs to fill out the schematic here and make sure that it matches up with your actual model. So that's the first thing. This is the other document you need. The last thing, or the other thing that I'm going to look at real quick, are your student assignments. Now, I haven't assigned anything yet, so there's not actually anything here, but there will be when it comes to the day of actually working on this. So this should be filled out. But these are the different tasks that you guys have the option of completing. So in red, I have generally more difficult activities, and yellow or orange are things that are a little bit challenging but not too bad, and then the green ones are, or the blue ones are a little bit easier, a little bit not quite as difficult. Now, that doesn't mean that just because it's super easy that I want you to tackle that just because you're lazy. That is definitely not an excuse for going for something easy. If you feel yourself capable of doing something more challenging, challenge yourself. Also, within each of these, so within Terry the Traffic Tamer, there's a level of difficulty that you can add to that one by adding a certain thing in your program. But generally, the colors kind of reflect how challenging that program is. So these are the assignments, the different parts of the program. I'm just going to fly through them really quickly. The first one here is the spinning sign. You're basically making a sign, or making a system, or making an automated mechanical sign that rotates however fast you want it to rotate, hopefully something slow enough so somebody can read it. It has to have the ability to stop when the business is closed. Bonus for this one, if that's too easy, is you can add a second switch to actually turn it back on. So lots involved here within the different jobs. Make sure you read the different jobs. We've already done the drag race, that's number 2. This is one of my favorites, Terry the Traffic Tamer. Your mission for this project is you're making a stoplight. So you have in your kits red, yellow, and green LED lights, and what you can do is you can make your own stoplight just like you see on the roads. You can build a system to actually put it up like it's elevated, like stop signs are in North Carolina. So you can make it as realistic as possible, or as realistic as you have time for. So your traffic control, you're actually going to have it run through a sequence. So red, yellow, green, or green, yellow, then red. It's going to run through a sequence. You need to have the option to have a push button switch that resets the program so you can adjust for the red light. So what's going to happen is you're going to have an ambulance that's coming, and the push button is going to reset the light so that it turns red so that your ambulance can get through. A bonus for this is going to use a timer that works with your push button so that when it's released it returns to the normal sequence, green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, for however long a reasonable traffic light would be. So that one can be a little bit more difficult if you're feeling like challenging yourself. The toll booth, pretty straightforward. you're designing a toll booth for an airport. You need one sensor to open and close the gate. You need to have a red light on when the gate's down or when the gate's moving, and then once the vehicle goes through the intersection, the gate needs to come back down and the light turned off. So a bonus for this, you can add a green light that indicates the car can go through. Just another level of difficulty. Number 5, grandma's chair. If you've ever seen a grandma's chair going up and down the stairs, something this grandma can sit in, and it travels you up the stairs. Easy peasy for grandma. Bonus for that one, you have a couple options here. Something that if the chair stops midway, that it returns to the first floor and she tries it again. You can also use a line follower sensor to determine when the chair is at the top and when it's at the bottom. Just a level of difficulty there. Tech Rock's bridge, you're basically making a bridge that when it is lined up, it allows for a train to go through, and then when it is disengaged, it is open for river traffic to come through. So you're making a turntable bridge that works like it says here in your mission. Lots of jobs here. Make sure you read them. Road trip, probably going to be a little bit more challenging. You're designing a car that's actually going to have several features on it. It needs to have this itinerary is what you're going to run through. If you need more challenges here for the bonus, you can have it go through the sequence of different stops and try and return the vehicle within 10 inches of where it started. So that's a big challenge. Stay on course. You can design this to follow a black line going through a battlefield, and then it has to drop off supplies and then continue back to the base and stop. So fairly straightforward on that one. Pick and place, a little bit more challenging. You are picking and placing just like you're in a manufacturing plant, picking up something from one side, rotating the arm over and dropping it. It's a lot more difficult than it seems. And then the last one, a freight elevator. This one's going to be a little bit more challenging, and you got lots of options for difficulty here. So if you're feeling that you can tackle this and you have the ability to, go for it. But this one, you're basically making an elevator that goes to the different floors, and it's a little bit more difficult than it seems. So read through this and make sure you understand it before you think you can tackle that one or not. So there you go. Just want to remind you, for either one that is selected for you, make sure that your program is autonomous. That's what this class is, automation, unless there is a push button to help the program or to guide the program. Make sure that your program is fully autonomous. There you go, the ins and outs of our phase 2 project.